Welcome. This is Crime Queen, and if you're joining us for the first time, this is where we get excited about love. This is where we ignite that which dwells from within us, that which comes alive, makes us smile. Hence, we say, the crimson light is live. Of course, I hope you're experiencing that crimson light igniting within you. Okay, stick with me. Yes, we are on this journey together. Okay, so if you're new to this channel, this is Eve when she's illuminated, when things are just being in a sense of oneness, when you can capture the essence of life. Sometimes it's only for a split second. I don't know if you've actually experienced anything like it. But I have. There was one time I had just finished work and it was a summer's day. But as soon as I stepped out of the building, I just finished my shift. And on the steps, I'd done about 4 steps. There was a millisecond of illumination that I can't recall experiencing such wonder. It didn't last more than a second, I don't think, but I know it was the memory of it still lasts to this day. It's just wonderful. Now, that's what I call a sense of oneness, which reminds me of Van Morrison, sense of wonder, wonderful. Okay, now I want to really stick with this because this is so delicious. Of course, deliciousness, well, I'm sure I'm not on my own about this. Breast, we are talking about breast. And so I'm sure there are people who would be able to identify with me in that deliciousness. I am thankful for that. Okay, so we have been exploring breasts. The intention is to really explore how many words we can get from breast. But in that attempt to do that, in one of the presentations, we had stopped on rest. We had rest on breast. We discovered that breast, the B word, is also that B that constitute the sacrificial B. This column here, that's the column that consists of the 13 who sat at the table, including Jesus. And we understand that bee constitute the beehive that really produces honey, and they really don't care, dying for the purpose of producing the honey for the queen bee. That is the column that we as parents leave ourselves without, and we endeavor to give our children the best, what we see or what we value as the best we can do for them in that moment, or in our vision, or in our endeavor. That is the B that we say, oh, this is all, or I left myself without and I did this for you. And you may hear the other person say, well, I didn't ask you to. But that's the B anyhow. That's the B that happens there. Now that B happens in a sort of agreement. We do that agreement, we either do it with somebody else, but we either do it with our W, ourselves. We say myself and I. This is where we are being in, we are reasoning with ourselves, so we are detached, if you like, where we are even being objective. So there is the witness part of ourselves that we make that agreement with the other. Well, whether it was the ego or super ego, whichever way you want to put it in Freudian or whatever, whether it was between the ego or superego, or between what we see as me, myself, and I, or the spirit and the material aspect, or the body, or minds, So that's the agreement part I am talking about. Now we have been exploring breasts, and in that exploration, I also come to understand what the beast means in Revelation. Now, that's a subject that I never really imagined that I would be encountering, particularly at this stage. No, I had not thought so at all. Because the question of the 666, why would I want to really um, address a subject that has taken scholars and the whole world, if people are trying to interpret this and making sense, and serious books are written about this, why would I want to really address that subject? But I am going with my intuition. That is what has guided me. That is what has protected me. That is what teaches me. That is what I have learned to trust. And I am learning to trust it even more. Well, if it doesn't seem right, whatever it is that I go in with the end, at least I have learned to respect the feeling or the intuition or how I've been guided. And those intuitions and feelings may be subtle in variation, but at least I am engaging them, so I will learn their characteristics or mannerism or how they display themselves by my receptivity of their presence. So thus, I am going with breast and saying that the beast that has been spoken of in Revelation is really deriving from that which is breast. That which is breast, in the sense that the word breast also has within it beast. Now, the beast here, I don't really see it as two horns either. No, I don't see it as two horns. I see it as it's a message saying, be east. Because it's like the message of Christ saying, I have come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. But to do that, it's that you have to learn the process and cycles of life. So be east, so you can get that life from the sun, from the east, and that you will learn how to handle yourself. You will learn how to honor life. You will learn how to grow. You will learn how to honor life. And so you will have it more abundantly. So be east. And I actually believe, again, as I've said before, that this is why everything is not, as they say, black and white in the Bible, because the Bible itself asks you to seek wisdom. And it also speaks of a part that when you get understanding, it's the peace that passeth all understanding. It also speaks of wisdom in the way that it says, wisdom, you will find her in witty inventions. Now that to me is key. It's like a joke. It's saying witty inventions. Someone has sat and plot out some jokes, and we are meant to, it's a riddle. We are meant to decipher what that riddle is. And so that beast derives from the breast. And haven't they really, or I say they, whoever, have always, as far as we can remember, have always used the parts of women's body to portray a message. We see it not only in ancient times, we see it in our times, we see it in the new times. Always it's the same story that we see that in Songs of Solomon. He speaks, of course, he mentions breasts as a tower, or the neck is the tower rather. But roses, like roses with thorns, so women's bodies have been used to, and why? Of course, why not? Because it's a dome, and we are talking about wisdom. We are talking about this is really just funny now, and I just want to cackle. So this is the dome. Now, this is the wonderful thing. This is so delicious right now, because I have been wanting to study the wisdom tooth so I could get the full essence of wisdom. And now wisdom is unfolding and speaking to me in this witty way. Of course, that's what wisdom, wise. When I check the word wise, it means wit. I hadn't done wisdom, but I remember the word wise, and so we see that it says wisdom, seek it, and also when you find it, um, bury it and sell all you have, and so you could buy this field, and so you can really deal with it, your field. So we bury this wisdom within us. In fact, make it go in our psyche. Do everything we can to protect it. That's what buying the field is about. So someone else does not come and really take it away, or it's not destroyed, it's not trampled on, it's protected. So you have bought that field, you're going to look after it, you're going to nurture it. And that's what the wisdom is within us. And then we can nurture it and, of course, let it flourish. So the breasts are two domes. And, of course, what is in that dome? It's nourishment, it's food, it's beauty, it's love, and that is what I mean about it equates to the honeybee, the beehive. That's exactly the same story. The beehive. So the breast, one can suck onto the breast and for nourishment, and of course it's like you could feed. In fact, we know that or in the slavery days that the women, the black women, will breastfeeding children, because she's able to nourish, even if she didn't birth or give birth to that child, but she still had that means of nourishing another, which is what we do. When we are nourishing, we are breastfeeding. It may not seem that we are doing it as a babe, but that's what is happening. We are the dome in that everything we can think of, we constitute all of that. Isn't that delicious? Isn't that just so delicious? So we are seeing here that wise dome, those two domes that a woman carries, that is what the child breastfeeds on and, of course, passes from one to another. Hence, we came with the word rest. We can see a child being so busy trying to find that nipple that it sometimes misses, and sometimes so tired in between or in the intervals of intake, it has to rest. Now, I like this word here because that word rest also comes in direct correlation and direct connection with the word lie between the word believe. The word lie that constitute believe, which is found in the word believe, which equals 33, as in Genesis, which we are, there is also the number 8. In that middle of the lie, this is 8. More so, in actual fact, like what I also did on the presentations to say, I suppose that lie, which we are told that the devil told a lie to Eve, but in fact, if we study very well, the devil did not tell Eve a lie. Or if he did tell a lie, this would be the lie. It would say that your eyes would be eyes open, and you would be like God. And of course, this is the infinity, the symbol of infinity, and 8 equals God. So we see the numerical values are still adding up. So if we do God and 7, 6, 4, and we add this, 4 and 6 is 10, and 7, 17, 1 and 7 is 8. So this would be the 8. This would be 8. And so this here, in this case, we are seeing that this rest here would also coincide with God resting on the 7th day, if you like. Resting on the 7th day, that would be the rest. Now, we've always seen the number 7 as the day of rest. But what if that symbol came before he stood up in that 7? What if that 8 here is really the 0? It's like he had done his day's work and it was 0. But in waking up, he took on the shape of an 8. In waking up, he took on the shape of 7, He rose to 7, looked at what he'd done, we could say that, and of course decided to, there's the 8. What if? What if we have been taught these two figures back to front? Or perhaps really our concern is that we go from 1 to 6 and the other, this lying down and getting up and going from 7 to 9 and 10 are just really functions. Because we are told that God created everything in 6 days. Now the 7th and 8th day could really just be a new cycle, which we are seeing right here is a new cycle where eyes are open in number 7. So that's a new cycle right here. Going into headquarters zone. So headquarters zone right here, of course, we see if with the template of sacrifice, he is looking, or we could say after the eyes are open here, going into headquarters, taking another look into saying, okay, maybe having a conversation with Eve, Mother Earth, and saying, well, what are we going to do? Because that sea is facing that way now. See? Well, we're saying, well, we have to start over again. Let's pay the inland revenue and do that cycle again. Because everything God did, he did it. There was always the partnership. He made one person, he did two. He had the light, split it in half. There was the seed of division from the light. We saw that. Because first thing we learned, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. That was 2. Of course, we get the breakdown or how it might have happened, but then that was 2. He divided the waters from the waters. That was two waters, two sets of waters. He divided the light, the greater light and the lesser light. It's two. And that seed of two is within us as well. That is what I understand it to be. Hence the W has been played with, but we need to open our third eye so we can see the W. There might even be more than double. Okay, so let's okay, this is 20 minutes now. So let's just add one new word. At least we know that we are moving. So we have rest, we have covered rest. And so we know the word rest is very important for both mother and child or for whoever it is. But we know this is the beast word that is really pinnacle in this session, and I'm loving it because it's saying be east. You know, when we get up in the morning and we lift our face to the sunrise, to another day's surprise, this is poetic, of course. But it is wonderful. That's what truth is about. That's what presence is about. Number four, that's what the Father from the West beckons us to do. It's like the Father. He says, go on, to your brother or your eldest brother. Let him show you how to live. Your brother Jesus. Although if we want to say your Father Jesus, it's fine too. But let him show you. Let him shine on you. Because that's what we do. We model after one another. And I'm thinking as well, would Jesus really want us to model after him in the sense of saying, okay, to prove your love to him, you have to go through the sacrificial. But in some way, we are still going through that sacrificial mode. Well, in some way, because we have bought in, we are in it. We are in it. Okay, so let's just quickly do a word as well. This is what springs at me right now. In the middle of east is as, and as. I'm laughing because there is 9 here and 911. So it does beckon a laugh, really. So there we are. So as we see again the number 11, which equals 2, which of course equals Jesus, is transpiring right here again in that B column where 13 is, where 2 is, where T is. The nail, the table, and the bread and blood and the bread and wine. So we see how these two still reflects in that column right here. And that's a 9. Each time we are under one of these columns, we also have within us the seed of sacrifice. So I'm believing that sacrifice is very much in us, but it's raising our consciousness of how and why and how necessary or a meaning of that sacrifice. Does it mean we have to suffer? Or does it mean that we go through a sense of delayed gratification for the highest good of all concerned? It would seem that's what Christ did for the highest good of all concerned. I believe there is a profound teaching, but I also believe it has been really meddled with in a way that I felt the need to really explore for myself. And so this is what I mean. I feel we need to be exploring what we have learned to be able to move ahead. I hope you have found this beneficial. I hope you have found it fun. And of course, there is so much more to all of this here. Let's just recap on this. We see the word breast, and we have looked at the word east from breast, which equals 9. We have looked at B. We see B is reflecting here again as, and with the letter B, which we have talked seen as the dome, wisdom. So wisdom is not only in our tooth, it's really in the breast. That is really wonderful. And we see that R is an emphasis for that 9. It's like saying that 9 cycle that we need to do. In fact, it reminds me in Christ, it does remind me that in Christ's teaching, let's trying to see where I could put this now. Okay, because it'd be nice to have those words. Okay, beast and rest. Let's just put them here. BEAST and rest. Okay, just trying to keep these at, yeah. So as we had as 2. And well, okay, let's just leave this here because we want to not have the presentations too long, so we can enjoy them, because otherwise we still need to rest in between, or the Passover of the breast. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you have found it fun. I hope you found it beneficial, most importantly. So if you have and you like this, click the like button and share, because this is how we do it. We share to actualizing self-full love. In the meantime, stay blessed, be blissful, be bright, and stay ignited. Namaste. And spill over with love.